best. So, cheers, enjoy the mix. Well, looks like we made it, people. Show 45. That must be some kind of record. Yes, Rascal and Disco beer review with me, Disco, coming at you with another live stream from in front of the cans and bottles here on the bar. Oh, I'm still harmoniously calling the Disco Arms. Welcome along. Happy Monday. Welcome back to Monday Club if you've been before. If you're watching along, I hope you've got a beer in the pot or bottle or can or whatever method of dispense. Mr. Wilson, as ever, good evening to you. Hope you and everybody had a great weekend, a good beery weekend, as always. Well, no, actually, I wasn't wholly working, actually. I popped into work on Saturday, and then I popped out again. I literally popped in to pick up a pump clip and race across town because one of our local bars had one of our beers on. So I went to take the pump clip because we'd erroneously not managed to supply it. And the beer went on a Thursday, and by the Saturday afternoon when I got there, it'd gone. So I didn't even get to try a pint of Very Hazy at the Hop and Vine in Ruislip. But yeah, a little bit of Perivale heavy content, at least for the first part of this show. Do let me know if I go on about Perivale too much. You know, I work there. I was kind of, been out and about today. Went to pick up some casks, as I mentioned in the show last week. We had some casks go over to Hackney for the Pig's Ear Beer Festival the week before, so I went to pick them up today. They came back nice and empty, not just because they actually emptied them. I think they actually customers emptied them during the festival, and also picked up some cans, which is the first beer of the day. And yes, by the way, the show is entirely hinged around that pun on the number 45, some kind of record. People in the stream, if you are watching or watching after the event, obviously may be aware, if you're musically minded, 45 RPM, the speed of a record, along with 33 and 78. I don't know why I didn't do this on show 33. I think it's because it's 33 and a third RPM. It didn't quite fit as well, and I had other stuff to do. So yeah, 33. So I thought, when I was looking at the thumbnails yesterday, I thought, hang on, show 45. And I've got a beer in, and then it occurred to me, I can do other stuff around it. Actually, I'll come back to that later. Let's get a beer in the glass first of all. Dave Wilson, you've got a beer called Vinyl Frontier. How very, very apt, since I'm talking about records. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. A mango, banana, and peanut butter milkshake sour. Well, I'm fairly certain it's not Vault City. Who might that be from? But how very apt. You got a beer called Vinyl Frontier. I've got a beer to do with records and kind of music all the way through this one. So let's start off then, as ever, with beer number one, please. Beer number one is, I call it my beer. It's not my beer. I just sort of helped make it. Certainly distributed it. I drove it all the way over to Southeast London the other week, and it went on tour. It's been up and down the country in the cans, and we have got some on the bar. But yes, you read that right. The beer is called the Budweiser Harmonies. No idea how we're going to, get away with that one. I assume it's going to be okay. We talked long and hard about cease and desists, maybe. Whether we'll get away with it, whether we're allowed to call it that. It is called that. As I do the photograph, thanks for reminding me, Mr. Wilson, as ever. It's called the Budweiser Harmonies. It's a sort of collab with a band called, it doesn't really show well on there, a band called Hope of the States. Made out, obviously, Perivale Brewery. And yeah, the Budweiser Harmonies. An American lager at 5.2%. Brewed say for the Hope of the States, the band which my boss, head brewer Mike, is in. He plays the fiddle in that band, and they've reformed after about 18 years. He's actually in 2 other bands as well, but this is the current one. They were on tour last week, so we made a beer to go on tour. It's called Budweiser Harmonies because the lead singer said, or jokingly said, he likes Budweiser, and apparently there's an obscure B-side somewhere relating to the name as well. So it was decided, in whatever wisdom, to call the beer for the tour the Budweiser Harmonies. As I say, no idea if we're allowed to, but we just have. So obviously, I won't be tagging Anheuser-Busch or Budweiser into these pictures if I do them up tomorrow, if I get the chance. But yeah, that's what it is. So I'd be fastidious again. I could just redo this one tomorrow, but yeah. And so this one, in fact, 2 of the beers today, although I've called it a Bash the Stash style show, 2 of the beers have only come into the stash today, which is cheating slightly, and you'll be no doubt fully surprised, especially in terms of dates, etc. This is pretty much as fresh as it gets, probably the freshest beer ever on the channel. Let's have a quick look. Just quick check. Dave Wilson's Vinyl Frontier is Yonder, and is it Make or Mackie? I'm not entirely sure. The Boozer Project. Making Waves, Make, and Yonder's another one I really want to get onto. We've got some big beers. To just rebrand the Bud can. Well, I think they're close enough away from anything to do with Budweiser on that can, apart from the name. The artwork, I think, comes from the current single from Hope of the States band called Long Waits in A&E. And if you came across from my Instagram stories, that was the song, the music on that, or a little snippet of them. If you have come across from Instagram, do let us know in the comments, because I never really know whether it's worth advertising a show on YouTube, on Instagram, but I put the link on there anyway, just so people can see it. But if you do, just let us know in the comments or down below if you're watching after the event, and if you are, thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, and all that blah blah blah. But yeah, 5.2% American style lager. Obviously a little bit hazy, as is the style at Perivale, but fairly light, bit dark orange there, but very light lemon color in the light. But yeah, Shark. Cheers to you as well. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, not quite Sharkweiser, but okay, so the next kind of thing. What ABV was Sharkweiser? I can't remember. Yes, I know. Fresh beer is sacrilegious here. It doesn't happen often. Nor does the name Budweiser. 8%, and it's not awful. It's the best you can say. I mean, that to me sounds pretty amazing. I'm not quite sure about the peanut butter with the fruit, but I had peanut butter and jam. I had another vampire disco at the weekend. It was well over a year old, but that was 10%, and that was peanut butter and various fruits, red currant. But yeah, mango, banana, and peanut butter milkshake. Not sure about the mango, but banana and peanut butter is fair play. But yeah, 8%. Sounds like the sort of thing you'd get out of Yonder. Mackie for that one. You have Sharkweiser on tap. Yeah, so we're doing beers tonight that are vaguely music related, because it's show 45 and 45 RPM on the record. So I love the fact that David Wilson's got one called Final Frontier. Right, enough chatter. Let's get this down my neck. Cheers, everyone. Happy Down Monday. Happy Down Monday Club. Enjoy the beers. That smells really nice, really fresh. Trying to do an objective beer review of a beer. I have had a swift half of this quality testing, you understand? Got to do the quality testing in the brewery. So I do vaguely know what I'm getting into here. We've just, gone into 330 cans at the brewery. not up on the website yet. We've got some technical issues, I think, to resolve. That will happen very, very soon. We've got 5 other beers gone into cans, hand canning. Got a little canning machine, small batch. So that's like a little bit of a heads up. I think I mentioned that the other day, but we'll get into that, mentioning that later. Yeah, cheers. As lagers go, and I've been getting into lagers more often, like in the last few years, especially the craft lagers. It just sits really nice, really fresh. I wouldn't say crisp so much. I'm immediately comparing it to the very crisp, the Czech style lager. Well, yeah, kind of Czech style lager. It's got Saaz hops and Czech malt in it. This one's a bit lighter. There's not less flavour, but there's less flavours to pick up. The other one's a bit more savoury. This one's a bit light. There is a touch of lemon drop there. Just a little like zest of lemon. Really nice. There's a slight hop note there, more than you probably get on your average Budweisers. That's a good point. How close is it to Budvar? Well, it's 5.2%, which I think is still what Bud. I'm not sure what Budvar is, but it's. I hadn't actually considered that really. Or this one or the crisp. I generally consider the other one crisp. It should be Budvar, but I think it's a bit more Pilsner Urquell, if I'm honest. But obviously we put stinging nettles in the Czech style lager, so that kind of takes it in different dimensions anyway. Yeah, this one, you're here to drink beer and not waffle. Well, I do a bit of both. I like to get the balance right, as I like with my beers, and this is superbly balanced. If I remember rightly, there was a little bit of flaked rice went into it as well. Again, as the style, I guess, of American lagers, or simulating that kind of mass-produced supermarket lager, which I'm normally dead against. Anything with rice lagers, I'm like, you're kind of like, but it seems to work here anyway. So this has been around the country. I picked it up this afternoon from a pub in Shoreditch, and put it straight in my fridge, so it's still nice and cool and cold and refreshing. It hasn't got a big body on it. It's fairly light. It's got a bit of wheatiness to it. Yeah, barley malt, rice, hops used. Hops in this are Hallertau Magnum, which again I sort of kind of threw me a little bit. So it is that kind of German style hopped. Drink by the 26th of November, 2025. Scale 272. Yes, probably the fresh. No, actually, it's not the freshest. It's not the freshest. The freshest actually was, I believe, although I didn't do it on YouTube, so it doesn't count. No, the freshest was like 4 years ago, that iteration of the Beetroot Beer de Garde that I had on Thursday, the 2020 iteration. That I believe it was like canned 2 days out, sent down to a sat in my fridge for a day. This was like done last week and has been around the country. So yeah, that's not quite the freshest, but pretty damn close. And as Shark says, I don't really do in-date beers here. That's a lie. Of course I do. But as craft lagers go, like I say, light refreshing, got a touch of citrus on that lemon. And a good start. I tend to start with a lager, start light, obviously then go up the scale, as you know. So yeah, absolutely. I guess nowhere near Budweiser. I haven't drunk Budweiser in any form for, I would imagine, 25 years. We used to have it in our pub. One of the pubs we used to frequent. We used to go to the one up the end of the road here, and then there was one opposite. We'd go and see the band. They used to have it on tap, Budweiser. And back in the day, I'm talking 96, 95, 96, 97. We didn't really know a lot better, and there wasn't a lot of choice. So yeah, Budweiser doesn't get a free pass with me. anymore. It kind of used to, but yeah, now I just associate it with supermarket dirge filth. So that said, I suppose we should check. So I did stop at a convenience store around the corner. So let's see, does it taste anything like Budweiser? This is probably the one and only time you'll see any kind of dispense of Budweiser on the show. Does it taste like Budweiser? Cheers. No. I gotta be honest, this bottle was £1.10. And yeah, kind of Budweiser. Yeah, it's all right actually. It's like, you know what you're getting. It's kind of light, kind of fizzy. But I'm not picking up a lot, to be honest. There's no hop note, really, is there? I don't think so. I think I'm heavily biased. See, I can drink that. It's like, it's all right. Quite fizzy is that? Yeah, it's not something I want to. Yeah, you need to waste a glass to show a side by side. Do I? Do you know what? It's weird. You know, it's like, yeah. Let's have a look then. Let's have a look, shall we? Talk amongst yourselves. I'll tell you what we'll do. Most appropriately then, Shark, we'll put it in a small beer glass. Run in from that show. Well, I mean, yeah. Let's get that off there. Yeah, I mean, you can tell which one is which, can't you? To be fair, all our beers pretty much are hazy, and unless there's any whatever natural dropout there is from that. I did ask my boss if it was all right to drink this on the show. I didn't tell him I was going to get a bottle of Bud because I hadn't thought of it at the time. But hey ho, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm a little harsh. There's no real taste to that at all. It's just obviously slightly alcoholic. What is Bud? God, I haven't looked for a long time. The king of beers. It is not. It's an abdicated king of beers. Oh, it's 4.5 in bottle. I don't know what it is elsewhere, but yeah. It's all right. Even at £1.10 a bottle, I can't be bothered. I'd rather pay, well, your £3, £3.50 for this, to be honest. Because there's a lot more flavour to it. There's a lot more body to it. Yeah, as is naturally more hazy. Now you want me to try my Sharkweiser? Well, I want to try a Sharkweiser now. I'm guessing you can't because it's far too far into the afternoon, unless you're off, I guess. But yeah, as a comparison, there's no contest at the end of the day. I know which one I would rather drink. We'll have some kegs of this on tap at some point before Christmas, so I'll get a pint of it. I don't think I'll do any further side-by-side comparisons because it's a nice hazy. Well, you need a little glass of medicinal purposes, I think, there in that case. It'll definitely make you feel better. There are a few times when I go for a kind of low-bodied lager anymore, unless it's relevant in the whole kind of like the reason I'm doing it. And obviously the reason I'm doing it is this one, because it's in reference to, like I say, a B-side from the band Hope of the States. Just done a tour, 4-day tour, sold out, of the UK. I didn't get a chance to see them, although I played a couple of dates in London over the weekend. I didn't get a chance. To be fair, it's not a band I know too well. I probably know his other band, the Leisure Society. Like I say, he's in 2 or 3 bands. He's a Brew. A man of many talents. Cheers, Mike. Not only is he a really good brewer, master of the malt, does the hocus pocus with the hops and the yogi of the yeast. Yeah, he can play a bit of music as well, not just the fiddle. Yeah. I will say this is not the best beer ever, but it does a job. It fills a little gap. I think it'll be popular on the bar at the farm because we always get people going, what's what's the closest thing you've got to a lager? And we're like, that'll probably be the Pilsner lager. Now we've got options to offer them a second lager, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a cheat because Mike's in the band, so that's how it came about. He has actually done previous ones for his other band a while back when they had an album out. So yeah, it's sort of outside of beer, but not quite in a way. Yeah, Stella. I don't know any Belgians, but no. No. We don't need a full rack of lager collabs. It's like this will do. This is fine. Oh no, actually, we do need one more lager, and I've been pushing heavily for this to such an extent. I actually went and bought a couple of cans of dark lager to try and convince him to do a dark lager because, as you know, that's probably my favorite style. If I'm going to be honest, I like the dark stuff. So yeah, I wanted to do a dark lager. Yes, Shark, I do want him to do a smoked lager, but that's even further off, I think you'll find. But hi, Rob. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Look at a beer called the Budweiser Harmonies. Basically, just to see if we'll get away with it. I've no idea whether the lovely people at Anheuser-Busch or Budweiser will send a cease and desist and say you can't call your beer that. I think by the time they do get the letter sent out, we'll have drunk all the evidence, and I'm doing my bit. So, yeah, as I understand it with cease and desist, all you have to do is cease and desist, and we're probably not going to make it again. And if we do, we'll just call it Hope of the States or something like that, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, sailing close to the wind, but doesn't look like a can of Budweiser, so it's not. I'm just trying to think how else I could pronounce it. No, it's definitely pronounced Budweiser. 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 Bud. And I'm not going to do that. I wish I thought about doing that properly. Yeah, if it doesn't look or taste like a bud, is it really a bud? But here we are. We're using the term bud because that's in the populace, in the psyche, isn't it? Everybody calls it bud. I suppose even Budvar. Yeah, like I say, I was talking about it the other day when I was watching the Craft Beer Channel. Did a whole video on Budweiser and the whole connection between Budweiser, and Budvar and stuff like that. And if I remember rightly, the story goes that kind of Budweiser didn't quite come first, but they just put the name in there first, and then the people of Budweiser went, "Hang on a minute, you can't use that name. What's going on there?" So, yeah, there's been like a 300-year custody battle. I was going to say 300-year IP claim. about who can use the name Budweiser or Bud or whatever, and nobody's really winning it. It seems to be stalemate and counterclaim and everything like that. So did you ever? Oh, okay. Well, a little trip to Windsor. Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, it was proper windy out today, just driving along, and it was over the weekend as well. I was trying to cycle. Like I said, I cycled from the brewery across town to this bar that had a beer on. I didn't make it in time. I was cycling into a bit of a headwind down the A40, not on the road, obviously on the cycle path. It wasn't entirely a necessary journey, being that when I got there, they'd actually sold through the entire key keg of the beer. Aptly named, very hazy, even though all of our beers are. But yeah, I stayed and had a couple of pints, as you do. I had a very nice one called Llama Jama, which I wouldn't normally have had because it's quite grapefruity, but also quite smooth and juicy on that grapefruit. And I only had it because of my mate Jim, who's a journalist and once managed to get the headline published, Obama Llama Farmer drama, about some llama farmers in America who petitioned President Obama on his last day in office. So yeah, I had to have that pint, and I had a couple of very good dark beers. I had a chai latte stout from, which one was that? Was that the Thornbridge or the Brew York? Fortunately, I posted about it so I can remember, which is why the 6% chai latte stout, sugar and spice, was from Thornbridge. And followed that up with Brew York's salted caramel ton cocoa, which I appear to have spelt incorrectly. I have to go and change that shortly. Yeah, like drinking liquid salt and sweet popcorn, which is obviously my favorite style. So happy days. We're moving up the darkness scale with this one today. I'm going to come back to that one, as always, because, as you say, it's about drinking beer. And I like the other day on Thursday, it was like, don't need to drink the whole pint, even though it's good. It was kind of good on Thursday on that stream where I kind of left a bit of it, and all three beers kind of complemented each other. We'll see if that happens today. Technically, it's 4 beers. I'll just knock that bud back. But yeah, because I've been waffling about the music connection. I should put some links in the comments or something. But yeah, go and check out Hope of the States Band if you like a bit of indie music. Reformed after 18 years, giving it another crack. But yeah, until then, sticking with the 45 RPM music theme. Yes, I'm going to pun that pun because you know I love a good pun. Apart from the joke, if he was born in 1945, if he was born in 45, he'd be 33 in 78. Love the maths. I don't know why. There's probably some mathematical reasoning why they do that with the music. Anyway, let's go on swiftly to bit number 2, please. And beer number 2, we're sticking with the lager theme actually, but we're going a bit darker. We're going with a Vienna lager. As you can probably see, pressure drop over in East London. I was out that way this afternoon, as I say. The beer is called This Means Nothing. And what else are you going to call a 5.2% Vienna lager? Ultravox reference, 80s tunage. Love a bit of that. Love a bit of punnage. I use that one often as I can, that joke, that pun. Where are you going? Vienna, that means nothing to me. Anything like that. I say a bit darker for a Vienna lager, and I'm not sure that is the case. I always imagine Vienna lagers to be a bit more amber, but it's poured out really, really light there. Although it's darkening up a bit. Still a bit hazy. Plenty of carbo, plenty of carbonation in the glass. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. reminding me that I'm doing a photograph. I'll keep unplugging the phone because I charged it up all day in the van. I then forgot to charge it up this evening, so it's a little bit light on charge. Put it into the brand new, as we featured on the last Thursday show, the McColl's glass, because I favour that shape of glass. Probably not appropriate, particularly for a lager, but I'm doing it anyway because, yeah, it looks much darker on screen, and that can has been bugging me all day. It's quite difficult to photograph. It's a kind of a matte finish, so it should come out nice and bright, but it doesn't. Although I was, for the thumbnail, photographing it kind of in the half light. By the time I actually managed to get back from the brewery, like I say, because I nipped over also to Shoreditch from Hackney to pick those cans up, so which was grand. Sorry, that's not gone well. Being fastidious once again with the light. I'm gonna have to delete a load of photographs soon because I'm taking far too many. I took a whole video last week of me driving over to South London. In fact, I was doing a whole video of me cycling across town the other day, and I got as far as cycling to the brewery to pick up the pump clip, and then turn the camera off, and then I did a little in the top pocket there so I could see it on the phone. And then the second bit of the journey from the brewery to the bar, I recorded 7 seconds, and it must have just clipped the pocket and turned off. So that was no bloody use whatsoever. So that's another video that's not happening. Got lots of videos that's not really happening. Vienna Lager is another good sessionable style. Yeah, so this is also 5.2%, funnily enough. Compared to Sam Adams, I might have to pick up some Sam Adams and find out. Paul, thanks for popping in. Happy damn Monday. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you had a good weekend, either on the sesh or in the bar. So yeah, 5.2%. I always imagine Vienna Lager to be a bit darker with the darker malts, and it is, but not as dark as I imagined. Much more amber, but the carbonation racing doesn't pick up on this camera too well. But yeah, pressure drop, very well thought after. East London Brewery at Walthamstow Way. I picked this up on a direct order a while back, so you probably won't be surprised to know that it may well be ever so slightly out of date, because I was going to do one of them YouTube shorts with it where you could put the music on, even though this is an entire stream dedicated to music in beer. I still don't understand the copyright bullshit on YouTube, so I won't be playing any music, which is annoying because you can do that on YouTube Shorts. So why can't you do it on lives and video? Grumble, YouTube. I love you, man. Bastards. Anyway. Enough of that. I'm turning into a cranky old man. I already was. Yes. Anyway, cheers. Much nicer on the aroma, to be fair. That's a little harsh on Budweiser Harmonies. Yes, it's called the Budweiser Harmonies. Let's get out. That's the only thing. It's like that bit hides all the beers I put over there. That's annoying. I need that to be like here. Any idea how I get that? How do I get that over there? And I keep forgetting the ways. Anyway, right, let's get into this. Cheers. Yeah, much maltier. Darker malts, a bit more bready. Hints of marmalade, maybe. Bit of brioche. Jan Hatch, cheers. Oh, noticeable on the carbonation there. Got the lacing on the glass already. Yeah, much breadier, much more touch of kind of marmalade toast notes going on. As I said before, I much prefer the darker lager. Still plenty of taste and flavour, but still fairly light body with all that carbonation, so fairly easy drinking. Smash a few of those back, to be fair, but yeah, superb. Yeah, so obviously the beer is called This Means Nothing, the old Vienna lager, the old Ultravox reference. Let's see what pressure drop we've got to see. This lager has a little more oomph than your average. Yeah, that's true in body wise. A selection of lightly kilned malts bring a subtle toasty note to the crisp, dry finish. That's fair. It's crisp. Yeah, like I said, a bit of toast. Hops. This one's a new one. I know the first one. Hops are Mittelfrüh, which means middle piece, I think, in German. Frühstück is breakfast, which is like break piece or something. I'm not sure if Mittel is middle or not, actually. Schoolboy German, what do I know? Anyway, hops are Mittelfrüh and Spalter Select. I've not heard of that one. Spalter Select. Oh no, we're okay. That's a lager in it. You can. It means stored, so you can store this for longer. Packaged on the 8th of February 2024. So with a long lager date, 8th of February 2025. 3 in date beers on a stream. What would you know? What can you do? What can you do? I mean, I've cheated because 2 of the beers only came into the stash today, technically. So I'll go on to the third one later. Paul was on the source in Camden last night drinking Budweiser Dark. Good stuff. On draft. Superb. That's a good find. As you know, I prefer my darker lagers, especially Budweiser. Solid, very drinkable pint. Good stuff. I didn't think he was allowed in Camden. I think he was allowed nowhere near Camden because of your general dislike of Camden, the brewery. But yeah, you're allowed. Yeah, as a darker lager, this is really nice. As a merest hint of kind of, like I say, the marmaladiness. It does go a bit more orange than lemon, but there's a little bit of citrus on there. Anybody else got a beer on at the moment? Was it? I know Dave Wilson has. Thankfully, very music related with vinyl in the name. This is just me drinking on a Monday night. Day off tomorrow. Yay. It was quite quiet up the brewery over the weekend. It was one of those days where you look at the weather and you go, because it's all outside, and you think, yeah, it's going to be one of them days where you might have to try and catch up with all the other bits and bobs, but it's too cold. So, yeah, no, it was a good weekend anyway. Like I say, had a few beers on the Saturday, popped into work briefly, and then went on a drink. Yeah, had a long drive around London. I haven't driven around London apart from last week for some time. And it's not bad there now. I don't mind that, apart from the roadworks on the Euston Road. I had a good swift drive around. Saw a lot of places. Like I say, popped over today to the Round Chapel to pick up the casks from the Pig's Ear Beer Festival. In fact, Paul, I saw one of your beers was on there, the on the keg bar. I didn't get over there during the week because I was busy doing other things, and it's a bit far unless I drive for me these days. But maybe next year, I think I might get over there for a beer again. Hopefully, I've said that every year for the last 3. There was no footy this weekend. Footy got cancelled this weekend for everyone, didn't it? Basically, there was no footy this weekend, especially for you. But it's a good game, but there you go. Yeah, ours was cancelled. More footy tomorrow night. May or may not do an early stream again tomorrow night. I did say I wasn't going to talk about football on the stream very much. It was meant to be about beer, but I enjoyed the last 2 Tuesday night early kind of streams, and then nip out to watch the mighty Argyle. So I might, if I can find 3 beers, I did try and find more green-related beers, but I don't really need to buy any more beers for the stash. And I was going to pick one up this afternoon, and I reached in and picked the wrong beer, so that doesn't count. So, but yeah, I might do a stream tomorrow afternoon, around about 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish, pre-football. League program on tomorrow night. This beer is really nice, really good with this one. It's a sort of beer where you just pour it, sit around chatting, and you barely notice you drink it because it's got good flavours, easy drinking. Got those lovely bready and malty and slightly marmalade notes. But it's a lager, it's definitely more my kind of thing. See, that one was good, but this is, got those darker notes. Still a little bit of lemon drop there, though. Let's have a quick look at pressure drop. I do like to have a little look at the. The websites of some breweries just to see what else they've got. See if these are still on. Actually, I forgot to load this one up. So the only trouble with doing that is I often end up seeing beers I actually want to buy, which is difficult because I ended up buying 4 more beers today that I don't actually need but wanted. One of them is the third beer for the stream. Oh gosh. Does anybody else do this with the old age verification? Normally you just click it, but you actually have to change your date of birth. I'm just going to pretend I'm young. There you go. My birthday is not the 1st of January. But yeah, pressure drop, punting some really good stuff out, well thought of. I like everything they do. Still got Wu Gang Chops a Tree. I tried that on a live stream a while back, actually. Why do you always do this? Mango and coconut sour. I saw a few this afternoon and nearly picked some up. Yeah, not too much on the website there today, but yeah, so I popped in today. I'll tell us about the next one. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I was going to ask. So here's a good shout. Here's a good discussion point I wanted to talk about. I popped into, like I say, I was over at the Round Chapel picking up the beers, the casks from Pig's Ear Beer Festival. Over the road is Clapton Craft. So I popped into there because I was there at like 1 minute to 12. Picked up the casks, put them in a vehicle, and just saw him open up. So I thought, I've got to go and have a look, see if I could see any like record or music related beers that I could do, because I knew I had a couple, and I've actually got another one in from Pressure Drop, funny enough, called Plant the Seed, but I didn't want to do 2 Pressure Drop beers. That's a song reference from a band that I follow and I've banged on about here a fair bit, called the Slow Readers Club. But yeah, can anybody think of any other music related beers I should be getting? And the reason I ask is because, as I say, I didn't do this. What's happened there? Let's go. Oh, I've kicked the camera. Oh, let's go back that way a little bit. Yeah, that's where we're meant to go. And we'll just move that Budweiser off the screen. And we can put that one. Yeah. So can anybody see, or if anybody recommends any song title related beers? Now, there has been quite a lot. I done a whole quiz round a few years back of beers that were like band collabs. There's quite a few of those, but also a lot of breweries do that kind of like pick up on like some lyrics or some song titles. So if anybody's got any ideas and can think of any beers they know of, even especially currently, or even previous ones, like, but if they've got any current suggestions, because what I'm thinking is, if I still manage to keep this going, I've done this for show 45 because of the record, the RPM pun. I love that. Didn't do it for 33 because of the 33 and a third, but if I do it for 45, I've kind of got to do it for show 78 if I get that far, but it's only another 33 shows away, so I need a few references. I look through my stash, and although I keep moaning about how considerable my stash is because I keep buying beers and not drinking or reviewing them, but yeah, has anybody got any ideas for like song title related beers I should be getting? I know Turning Point had one with a band who I hadn't really heard of, but I knew it was kind of iconic. I never got around to getting that one because I didn't rush out. But yeah, if you see any other band related or song title related beers, do let me know, either in the comments in the chat, or if you're watching after the event, in the comments down below. Beers I should be looking out for, breweries I should be looking at. There's a fair few about. I couldn't find it. Like I said, I went into Clapton Craft. You've got an immense collection of beers, and I had to restrain myself to just picking up 4 beers, including one for the stream that we'll talk about in a minute. But I couldn't see anything that jumped out at me, and they had a good range of, a lot of London breweries and a lot of breweries from outside London, but then kind of the regular ones, they had a lot of Verdant. There was a few, I think it was some Daya. There was a fair bit of stuff, and I've looked on their website, and I couldn't see anything that kind of stood out as a song title to pick up. It was sort of, ones that I should have bought just in case and then check them out. I mean, I could have Googled it there and then, but and this was a funny thing. Big shout out to a guy called Dom over at Clapton Craft in Clapton Road, opposite around Chapel. Clapton Craft, really, really good London bottle shop. They got 3 or 4 shops across kind of North London. I think one in South London as well. And like I say, I rocked up there about 11:45, loaded up the car, and I saw him open up, and I can't wait. Like 2 minutes later, I walked across the road, and he hadn't actually unlocked the shop. So he unlocked the shop for me, and I said, "Look, I'm sorry, mate, to give you this, you've only just opened up for the week. I know that." And he's like, "No, it's fine, man. It's cool." I said, "I got this challenge for you. Have you got any beers in?" So basically, I was testing his knowledge on his stock. And he gave it a good shout, to be fair. He did point out the next beer coming up. He pointed out Dead Wax from Orbit, which I thought was, close, like the wax cylinder on records and stuff like that. But he didn't have, and I looked at pretty much every can and bottle in there, I think. So the one I'm going to go with next is kind of obvious because they do a lot of music-related stuff. But so if anybody's got any other suggestions, do drop them in the comments. And I will check them out if I can, and I will look out as well for show 78. I say it's a dated reference for people of kind of my age that remember vinyl records. I was never a big vinyl record collector, but I did have some 7-inch singles, and I can also never remember from 33 1/3 to 45 to 78 which one's which, because some are albums and some are singles, and like the long players. I can't remember which number is which, but that's the one. Yeah, that's what I'm Paul. That's the one. Machine Head, Burn My Eyes from Turning Point. I'm aware of the name Machine Head, but again, probably a bit heavy for my musical taste. That's a great show. I think I've had loads of musical references over the years. I'm not really, because I wasn't really doing that, bundling them together for a theme thing. So that's a great show. That's the one I was thinking of. If I get round to doing a Turning Point, I did look at Turning Point the other day, but I've got far too many Turning Point beers I haven't got round to doing, especially the disco beers. That needs to be done before Christmas. Storm Weekend probably killed. Not so much the pub game, although again the pub I was in on Saturday was pretty quiet, but then that's because the local football team was away as well as the weather. But even obviously where you are, Paul, being outside, I guess it was fairly quiet. People getting there, not going out for essential journeys, even though going to the pub is basically an essential journey because you have to keep the pubs going and stuff like that. So even though I'm not at the moment, but that's beside the point. The carbonation on that, you can't see it racing up there, but it gives it a little sharpness. There's a little sort of citrus sharpness to that. But pressure drop, very well thought after Brewery over in East London. Do export as well. Nothing else anymore on that. So I'm trying to see how far the can goes. So it's a picture of someone holding a can of the can. I don't know how many cans there are on the front of that. These things amuse me. That's another hashtag. Oh, okay. Got a keg of it at work to go on at some point. I'll give you a shout, and you can do a video from it. Yeah, absolutely. I do actually have to visit the tap again before Christmas for present-related reasons, I believe. So I'm told anyway. So yeah, hopefully it'll be up there at some point. If it's on, I will. If I can get up there. Might even be next week, actually. But if it goes on, I'll see what I can do. Werewolf made a beer with King Kurt called Destination. A Werewolf, great brewery in Camden. Who's King Kurt? Is this a band? Seems like a band I should know about. Sadly, I don't. That's terrible. But yeah, I'll check that one out. Again, Werewolf is another brewery I've got to get to over in Camden at some point. I'm going to put that on the side and do the full lineup, I think, again, like I did the photo on Thursday, because I like that lineup photo. Looked pretty good. So I might do that again. Don't need a palate refresh for this one, because the next one coming up is a stout. You'll not be surprised to hear. But yeah, let's move on. Despite the fact I was enjoying that lager. I'm going to move on. Beer number 3, please. Beer number 3 could have fitted in last Monday's show. The Nitro Stout, or the Nitro Stout show on last Monday. Kind of enjoyed that one. Those beers were interesting. So, but it is from Signature Brew, another London brewery. London brewery lineup. East versus West, pretty much. But yeah, Signature Brew over in East London. Let's try and get this in the glass. I'm still not sure about nitro pours, especially on this table. It's not going to work well, is it? But let's get this in the glass, give a good hard pour, and see what happens. Oh dear. I haven't been back to Signature Brew for some time, but I do like their beers, especially when I'm over that side of London. But that is poured out pretty kind of thin, and I've got to be honest, a bit lackluster. And that's a shame. I did see, again, the other day, a craft beer channel review where they looked at nitro lagers, and I rewatched it the other day just by accident because it popped up. And if I remember rightly, they weren't massively, or Johnny rather, wasn't massively keen on this beer. Probably that's the reason, because even for a nitro stout, I'm not sure they've got the nitro right on that, or where the nitro is, because it's a pretty thin and lackluster kind of head on that, which is a shame. But they're still punting out, because that video was several months ago. But you know, I like a stout, so let's see what the flavours are like. You know, stouts don't have to be like thick and luscious and all that. You can have a thin stout, but if you're going with the nitro, you probably want a little bit of smoothness to it. I like the swells on the can art anyway. It does pour nice and dark into the can. My nose chooses that moment to block up, but yeah, it is a reasonably good pick, so that's okay. Big fan of Signature Brew. I haven't met to them for a while in sort of cans and bottles. Not got an order out of them across London, but they are very, very big into their music. They do have done a lot of collabs with up and coming bands, particularly the Slow Readers Club, as I mentioned earlier. I still have a can of that to do, even though it's a 6-year-old India Pale Lager that will go under the aged beer series that I started a while back and never did finish. But yeah, got a good tap room. I like their Nightliner Porter. I even like their Roadie IPA, which is a bit too grapefruity for my usual palate. But I've had a couple of good gigs on Roadie. Big fan of the rye IPA they do at Werewolf. Definitely a decent brewery. It's another one. I've got a beer of theirs I'm meaning to do a video on. I'm gonna have to do a live of all the videos with all the beers from the videos I've never got round to making, to be honest. Just to get through them in the stash, to be fair. Big fan of Signature Brew. So let's see what we get from this Nitro. Nominally Nitro Stout. If it's a Nitro Stout, see, like on that Nitro Stout night last Monday, like 2 of the cans are really light, and that still up there, isn't it? That Lurvy can was really heavy. So where's the widget? Where's the Nitro go? No idea. Can't see anything in there. That has kind of settled into a much slightly creamier head on that. So I'm not so worried. I got told, of course, Stout doesn't have to be thick and voluptuous, but you would imagine it was on a Nitro Stout. Kind of slightly off-white head, so it's tan, so it's got all those flavours and colours probably going on that you might expect. Let's have a sniff. I've just cleared a nose, but no particular notes on that. Let's get into it and try it. Cheers. Weird. Not weird, but yes, you can tell it's a Nitro Stout. It has got that kind of hint of smoothness. It's not terrible. It's not like way out or anything. It's just, I'm not really sure about that. There is a smoothness, and there is that kind of slight sort of lightness on the back edge, but it's not kind of, hasn't got like a watery edge, like I was saying about that, like Guinness and like that London Black the other week. I think I was a little bit too scathing about that. I'm not sure, because there was that kind of, I used the term spring water just to kind of like elevate it a bit. But that is like, it's like a Guinness clone without the flavour. So it hasn't got that kind of slight thin watery edge that like Guinness has, or like that London Black has. But it also hasn't got the voluptuousness. It hasn't got the waxy, leathery coffee, bitter chocolate note. It's just sort of, maybe the cigars come in there a little bit. It's sort of, yeah, I'm sorry, Signature. That's sort of, it's okay. It's drinkable. And if I'm in a bar where it's the only option, I'm all right. It's not that bad. But, yeah, it's sort of, it's thin but not watery. You can tell it's a stout, but it's not massively flavoursome. But then on the very back edge, there is that slight leathery, waxy cigar kind of hint. Not stale cigar smoke. It's fresh, but it's like a slight coffee note, but not massive. It's like, I expected it to be better from a brewery I've got a lot of time for, even though I've been to them for a while. It's the advantage of lies. I find I get through the forgotten beer stash. None of my beer stash is forgotten. I know it's all there. It's just time, and some would say talent, to get videos out. I still haven't put a video out for 2 months, and I've got an all day tomorrow, and I've got some videos to edit, but I've also got a quiz to write, so probably video edits won't get done this week either. And I keep looking at all the beer stash and trying to put them together in a theme. So yeah, it's not forgotten. It's just there and far too much. And I mean, it's a good problem to have. I keep saying this. It's like the beers are just there, and I'll get round to them at some point. They'll be okay. It's all right. Love the can. Love the can art. The can looks good. You know, it's strong. It's strong artwork in it. Black, a little bit of gold. Let's see what they say about it. First, they start talking about the brewery. Since 2011, we have created award-winning, music-inspired beers and collaborated with some of the world's best musicians at East London Brewery. That's a very subjective call. The world's best musicians. I mean, I happen to think the Slow Readers Club is one of the best bands out there, but not quite enough people have heard of them, and I don't want too many people to hear them because I'm not going to music at the moment, but I want to be able to go to a place where it's only like a couple of thousand people, not like a 30,000 arena. I'm just selfish like that, but they are, quite frankly, a fantastic band, the Slow Readers Club, and they have collaborated with Signature Brew. So yeah, that's a fair point. Okay, so Nitro Stout. Aromas of roasted coffee and cocoa crackle as the needle hits the groove. The black vinyl spins and plays the smooth, creamy notes of all your old favourites. The music fades and you are left with a dry, bitter finish. Smooth and roasty. 55 IBUs at 4.5%. An OG of 1.048. And I should know what that means, and I still don't get my head around gravity, to be honest. Yeah, so 4.5%. I'm not left in amazement. That is not the best Nitro Stout out there by a long chalk. It's sort of middle of the road. Like I say, I love what Signature Brew do generally. They have a really solid core range. They have a really solid lineup of beers and a few like specials, like I say, like the collabs. It's getting better, actually. I'll give it that. And if initially it's quite light on the flavour, it's still quite light on the body. It's sort of, like I say, almost neither here nor there. But I want to like it. It's a stout, so I'm going to. But I say it is, yeah, not the best Nitro Stout because there's no like voluptuous smoothness to it. Although that head has sort of dissipated, it still looks smooth. But yeah, I'm not sure what the Nitro does. I'd rather they not bother with the Nitro and just done a smooth oatmeal stout, or even non-oatmeal stout. You can get smooth. Yeah. Anybody else had this one? Has anybody else tried this in London? Mr. Wilson, you're probably most likely. But yeah, like I say, I picked this up from Clapton Craft today, and it was one of the first ones that's kind of Don went to because it was like Signature Brew. They do music stuff, so black vinyl. Because I did say record related or music related. Not yet. I mean, if you see it on tap, it's worth a go because it might be better. But I'm like, it's all right. Yeah, but yeah, Captain Craft, he was like, well, he couldn't. To be fair, he did have a good knowledge of his stock. Like I said, I picked up 3 other beers just because I troubled him at 1 minute past 12. I'm like, well, I'm going to pick up some beers here because there's some good stuff on the lineup. I didn't actually see what was on tap actually because I'm sure they have a tap room there as well. But yeah, it's a great bottle shop. Loads of really good stuff, especially for London beers, especially for East London beers. I haven't got an order out of Clapton Craft. In fact, yeah, there it is. I'm looking at a box over there of a Clapton guy. It's a big solid box in lockdown that I got out just because they had a disco beer on. And they didn't even have a disco beer in, to be fair. Needs to get back out to Walthamstow. Yeah, tell me about it. Jim, who was on the show the other week for the Watford Argyle show, he used to live in Walthamstow, and I still didn't get out to Walthamstow enough. Although I did go to Push Drops, the tap room. Was it the Collab? It was called the Collab, wasn't it? Was that with Verdant, I think? So yeah, there's so much more beer out that way as well. I've got to get out there. I think that's a next year problem. I'm definitely not getting out there this year. It's too cold to worry about that. But like I say, I was over that way today. It's a lovely little pub back in the Shoreditch called the Coal Pepper. Had Hackney Best on, so it must have been okay pub, to be fair. I see that said. Having said that about that, it is light enough that I've been knocking it back. I've knocked it back well enough. And I've still got those two lagers to go back to, and I don't normally go back from a stout. But yeah, there's still not enough roastiness for me. There's not enough like coffee or dark chocolate or roasted notes. It's just sort of a bit light. I say once I go stout, I generally don't go back. I'm always going to, like I say the other day, I was on that Brew York and the Thornbridge, and I'm like, well, I'm not going back to anything else. And I think the Thornbridge ran out as well. That's it. Yeah, that Thornbridge ran out, and they put a Wansom stout on, which was a good solid roasty stout, but it was an adjunct free. It was just a regular stout, and I'm like, that's great, but it's not as good as the other two because they've got more sweetness and stuff like that. So I don't mind an adjunct stout. Not found anything too sweet for me yet. But there you go. There you go. It's all very subjective. Lacing on that's not too bad. There's a lot of ghosts on there. Won't see that on the camera. There's a ghost. Is that a ghost or is that a pug? I think that's a pug. It's a ghost of a pug. So yeah, that's my record lineup. What do you reckon? Is that, show 45? That's some kind of record. I love that pun. I use it almost as much as I love the Dorset pun. What's the Dorset pun? When somebody says, names a place in Dorset, and I go, in Dorset. And you go, yes, of course I endorse it. It's a lovely place. But that is second only to, if we do that a lot of darts, we play Zoom darts. If somebody scores 33, 45 or 78, you have to go, it's some kind of record. That's a good question. Record of the year. I haven't been listening to a lot of new music this year. Certainly haven't been to see any music this year, particularly. Apart from what was up the brewery, we did a few shows. Apart from the boss's bands. My music of the year, my record of the year. That's a good question, and I should have referenced that somehow because I'm blatantly stealing all their material for next week's quiz. Is a wonderful band called the Bastard Sons of Valdunican. Cheers, Scott. Did an interview with Scott because he had a beer named after him at Dunican's Nautica Brewery. Bastard Sons of Valdunican take a lot of popular songs and Dunicanize them. Most hard-working comedy bands that come out of Yorkshire, possibly apart from the Everly Pregnant Brothers who come out of Sheffield. They come out of Barnsley, Rock City. Every year they do an album called Leap of Faith where you just put the money in so they can actually, because they're independent, they do their own Immune on the Stick records, they're called. So and it came. The one last year was the Marmite album, and this one, the one last year was Campbell's Soup. So all the artwork was related to Campbell's Soup, and this one was Marmite. We got Leap of Faith 5 coming out soon in the new year. But yeah, Bastard Sons of Valdunican. During lockdown, they just started a live stream, like Scott from his house with his wife, and ended up doing a kind of puppet show stroke music collab. Did a pub quiz, so I've started stealing the pub quiz from YouTube for my pub quizzes. Next Sunday, pub quiz, Perivale pub quiz number 5. You know what I'm gonna do for that. But yeah, I don't have a record of the year. If it's not the Bastard Sons of Valdunican, it will be the Slow Readers Club. Although this year's album hasn't been as good as previously, I don't think. It's a bit more of the same, but God, they do a good live gig. The Slow Readers, proper anthemic, electronic, foot stomping, bouncing guitars and drums, and you can hear all the lyrics. I love it. So yeah, that's my music. That's my music for this year. I can't even do a full like video roundup of the beer and music for the year, because I just haven't been to any gigs, enough gigs. I've been to 3 gigs, and is it 3? I've been to 4 gigs, and 3 of them I was working at, so they don't count. I was referring to the beers you had today. Well, the beer today, I think, was probably the Vienna Lager, because I love that reference. A Vienna Lager. This means nothing to me. That's fabulous. Obviously, I can't pick this because I'm heavily biased, but I love the fact they put Budweiser on the label, and we'll see what happens, to be honest. This one's a little disappointing. It's very, very light, but it's so light, I've been necking it, but it's also a little bit light in flavour compared to the other 2, to be honest. Yeah, sort of. It's got that kind of slightly smoky cigar note, slightly waxy, leathery. It definitely reminds me of that London Black, but it's just not quite as good. It's not there. It's not thick and voluptuous and like heavy enough. And that was a 4.4, the London Black. There it is. I actually prefer the American Stout, the left-hand one, although the peanut butter Nitro was very good. That's still available if you want to go and watch it. Yeah, so there we go. A little bit of music and record references. Still can't play any music because I still don't understand about copyright on YouTube. Otherwise, I'd be playing all these band references. It'd be great. Probably won't get a copyright strike for Hope in the States, I don't think, because I think I'll be all right, but I certainly would for Ultravox. Obviously, there's no music reference for this one. It's just, I just love that 45 RPM business. So, yeah. But, as always, welcome to Monday Club. A bunch of drinking beers for a Monday afternoon and some occasional madness. Mr. Wilson, as always, thank you for popping in and reminding me to take some photographs. I'll put all those reviews up, hopefully tomorrow, as long as I get the quiz written and a bunch of other stuff done. But yeah, thanks to everybody for popping in on a Monday night. That's been the new live stream, show 45, Some Kind of Record. You've been amazing. I've been Disco of Rasco and Disco Beer Review. Catch you again maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, possibly even Thursday, because I've got a lot of beers to get through. And I want to thank you all, each and every one of you, especially all the 500 subs we cracked over. I'll say that again last week, went over 500 subs. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great Monday. Have a great week if I don't see you again. And if not, I'll see you on the next stream. I'll be Disco Rasco and Disco Beer Review. Cheers and enjoy the beers. You beautiful, beautiful people. Haven't queued up the outro. Here's the outro. Ta-ra.